is a health update of July 7th, 2026. And I know it's been a long time, but I have been having a really hard time trying to give an update because I just don't know what to say anymore. I don't know. I get caught up in the feeling like I'm getting judged, and I have one person that's like, well, I can't watch your content because it just makes me so upset. And, well, my content's not for you. And also my content's boring. I'm not here to entertain. Hold on a minute. I thought someone was at my door. Like I said, I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to do a history for myself. And I do rewatch my own videos. But, and yes, I realize that other people may watch. And the big fear in me is not that they would watch. The two big fears is that someone I know closely would watch them. And the other fear is that, which I don't know why that's a fear, but it really is, and judge me. And the other, which is silly, right? It's not the dumbest thing. Sorry. The other fear is that my children will watch it and know a little bit more than what I have told them. Not that there's any secrets, but usually children don't ask many questions about their parents. They don't, it's like, it's not a thought usually in a child's mind. Like, they check on their friends and they want to see how they're doing in their health. Now my kids are a little different because they do that because they've, been raised with a mom for their whole life that has had health problems. So they do. But it's at a certain point where I don't think the kids should have to know and worry about their parents until they're like older, just much older, because it's kind of leaving that innocence in their mind about certain things, protecting them. So anyway, that's why I usually don't. That's why I haven't shared my story too much anymore or done anything, but I know I need this right now to help me sort out what's in my head. And so I'm not going to offer medical advice, that's for sure, suggestions, and I will always say that you need to go talk to your doctors, and if you're not satisfied with your doctor, find another doctor. And don't ever quit advocating for yourself. And finding somebody who will listen to you and do what you can to be healthy and in safe ways. And to persevere and keep going, and to find something that helps you to keep going. Because without that, when you have chronic illness, it is hard to keep going, as most people that deal with hard things in life. So the thing I wanted to talk most about isn't just my health update, because I guess I can run through a few things, but I don't even know where I left off the last time I updated. All I know is that doctors keep finding things. And I guess when you investigate, you go to different doctors and specialists and tests, and things pop up, right? You'll just find out what really is going on that your body, you've just been dealing with. Most people don't, actually. They're usually pretty off well, or, things can just be monitored, especially when you're older. So when I first started getting sick, it was always, right after Lyme disease was probably the biggest one, is that people would always say, well, you're too young to be sick like this. You're too young to be in this pain and all that. And now that I am 47, I hear that less and less because, oh, it's just menopause, or oh, that's just getting old, or doesn't it suck to get old, or oh yeah, getting old is just one of those things we all go through. But when you've been dealing with feeling old and having all these health issues for a long time, it is not oops, I almost messed up my camera. It is, I don't know what to say, but it is, it's difficult the further you go along, and you're still not getting, you're getting answers, but you're not getting better. Like, you're not feeling better. You're feeling better, but not a lot. It gets more frustrating because I feel like in my case, people are listening a little less. Not all my doctors. I have a good 3 doctors right now that I think are on top of a lot of things. A 4th, but I haven't seen him in a long time. Actually, no, I have a whole team of doctors that are actually listening and doing things. as of right now, because if they don't get me the answers that make sense, I go back and tell my primary care, and then my primary care is like, that's not good enough, or I'm going to send you someone else for a second opinion. So I'm just going where the doctors are sending me, where the tests are leading me to, and it's been since 2022, I think. I keep saying that. 2022, and here we are 4 years later, and I just referral after appointments and scans and tests and everything, and I feel like I should have just gone to UCLA years ago, which is who my insurance covers, because Mayo Clinic is not covered by this insurance that I have. Which I am building a case right now to hope someday get it compiled. It takes a long time because I have a lot of info, and I'm using ChatGPT to help me do a lot of the legwork, and then I'm going to go and refine it, which is very difficult to go back and look at it all sometimes because it's a lot. So I am a Christian, and so I have to say I'm not a very active person in my church anymore, and there's many reasons for that, but I'm definitely not a person that has ever lost belief in God or in Jesus Christ, or that the church I belong to is like in any way wrong or false or anything like that. But it is really difficult to be a Christian. For me, it's difficult. I think a lot of people think, well, if you have this great big faith in God, shouldn't you feel like a relief, or you know who to turn to, and you know who has felt this before, like the Savior's felt it before, if nobody else has. And I know that it makes it, it's not to say it doesn't make it easier, but it still doesn't take away the constant, it lightens it. But I feel like lately it has, it's not been making it harder because I've been going to church. It's been making it easier, and that's what I'm afraid of the most. That's a story for another time, because I emotionally cannot talk about it still. One of the big things I guess I can share is that in my story, I have been grieving for 12 years. And of course it's not a constant grief, but I grieve constantly because it's really silly too, because I know I'm not the only one, and vocalizing it and saying it makes me feel like, which is weird, when I hear other people say it, I don't ever think this, but I've been grieving for 12 years, and more recently because I'm losing hope on ever getting better, is that the grief is getting harder to manage. And that's why I put myself into therapy. And even in therapy, being told, I know all the things, I've been to therapy so many times, and all the tricks, I know all the things that people say, and I just don't know. The hardest thing is grieving for a life that you can't fully achieve that you want, and while also watching everybody else move on and do the things you wish you could do, while also choosing to stay in this life that I do have. I've been recently, last year, diagnosed with bipolar 2, which has been a blessing diagnosis. I knew it wasn't bipolar 1, because I don't have the manic highs, but I do have the manic lows, and I've been on medicine ever since, and that has been a game changer. So it's been nice knowing all the things that I have been going through in the past were just made worse by an illness that no matter what medicine I took at the time, was not helpful. So that has helped tremendously to get me out of that dark place, because now I know it wasn't just me not being able to be strong, and, you know, why do I keep going back to that? It literally was as if, you know, my arm was broken and it wasn't being taken care of properly. And yes, I use that reference a lot for mental illness. That's probably one of the things I talk to other people most about, is mental illness, because it affects everybody, whether you have it chronically diagnosed with anything, situational or whatnot. Depression is a big deal, big thing. But yeah, I have been grieving for 12 years. And I think that's why I've let my friend circle get small, is because, and even with the friends that I have now, it's very difficult to watch them do the things that I know I fully can't do, and have the liberties and the freedom from a body that I feel like I'm a prisoner in. And even though all the doctors are still looking into stuff, I've lost so much hope of getting better. And I know that in this life I may not at all. And I've accepted that. So when I go to all these doctor's appointments and things, it's very difficult for me to stay on top of them. I do it because I mean, it's not a hobby at this point, but, you know, what else is entertaining in my life? I guess that's stupid. That's not true, but you lose all interest in hobbies and crafts and just anything. I'm not a sports person, but besides things that can distract you. I have been grieving for 12 years. And where I have not been all alone, I feel alone. I've had people check in on me. I've had my husband, for sure, my children, my mom, my family. But the weight of it is so heavy, and it's difficult to be around other people. To listen to their problems, because they seem so insignificant. To watch the world just go around you year after year. I grieve for something that I will never get to have, because it was taken from me. And the mental strain of that is really difficult. Probably should put a warning in this that this is not a video for entertainment and will not be fun to watch. So don't. Unless you're super crazy and curious about something that you'll probably never understand, unless if you're a chronic illness sufferer. But I guess, you know, the more I've been thinking, I've been studying a lot about grief lately, which has been horrible that I've had to, but it's been a blessing because I've never really studied grief before, and it's been helpful in helping me understand what I've been going through the last few years, because grief of losing a future you once thought you were going to have, grief through chronic illness, grief through losing a loved one, grief through it's all different, but yet it's all the same. And I feel like because of recent events that are in my life that I won't talk about in this video, because it's not for any of my videos, is made my grief so much different. Because I don't have a system or a community because of I have not kept that going. Me. But I'm struggling. But the bonus is that I have researched grief more, and it's helpful to know and put words to it, even if it's such a strange thing to say that. It makes it more understandable. I don't think it, in a strange way, more bearable, but not, because it's still there. And it's been helpful to know that other people have gone through it, because to find somebody else with a chronic illness is really difficult, because to know personally to talk to, besides finding other people online and a lot of support groups for chronic illness, or a lot of, I've dropped out of because there are a lot of, which fair enough, a lot of people that are victimizing themselves, that are making it their identity, chronic illness, I mean, that are complainers and all this stuff, which is so silly, because to the ones closest to me, that's probably all I do, because they're my safe person to talk to. And I don't want to become like that, so I don't want to be around those type of people, so I often go away from support groups. I haven't been a part of one. Can't even remember. I need to start. I know I need to start searching again, but and with chronic illness is a very lonely one, because it's not a shared grief with anybody else. For that empathy of knowing what I'm going through and grieving together. I don't have that, even to explain it to anybody else. It's so difficult, and then I feel so bad for this other thing that has happened to me. I said to me. It's not to me. To someone else. And yes, I'm affected by it. That's what I said to me. But this other thing is this, I feel like such a hypocrite, because in talking to somebody else's story about their grief, it is more of, I'm not the person to talk to, because I have no idea. And that's what has made me realize lately, is how incomplete of a help I feel to others going through their grief, because it is different than mine, but yet grief is still grief. And I never want to be the person that compares my grief to another person's grief, whether it's chronic illness or loss or job loss or all the other different things that grief can bring. But grief is grief, and there is a connecting thing in it, and it's something I'm just discovering. It's so frustrating that I have made my life to not. I've kicked people out so fast. There was a point where I was sharing my story and building things, and I'm thankful for it, because I'd already started building stuff before. And I thought I was going to go in one direction with it and sharing my story, and I'm glad I stopped, because none of it felt right to go into public speaking, but I did it because I don't know, and I know God puts you on paths and introduces you to people in your life, but I still don't know which path that is. But being a public speaker is not it at this point in my life. It is definitely something that someday I'll wrap my head around and try to write it out. I don't know what I would do with it, because I can't even wrap my head around everything now, because it's so complicated. And when I do and I feel it and I understand, I don't record the videos and I don't write in a journal. I don't sit down and do it, because so many people are needing of me in my life. And because I don't. because I like to invest in other things and not focus on myself. Because the more I get into it, then the more I get stuck in my head, and the more I become even opinion of my own, more annoying to others, because that's all I talk about and all I think about and all I do. And also, I'm going to need somebody in my life who will have to hold my hand through it all, because it's not easy. And I think maybe someday I'll compile them, besides all the physical stuff that I compiled, doctor's appointments, test results, all of these things, that I'll actually do more videos like this that will be my documentation of what I went through. Because I don't know how else to do it. I have no desire to make TikTok videos or Instagram reels or anything of being entertaining or doing a video of me sitting down crying, which this one I cried because I'm talking about it, but like, oh, I'm crying now, I'm gonna record myself. Or I don't know, it's just not my way of communicating, because it just seems like a lot of work to me, that I'm just one of those people, if it's not something that I get, I don't know, it's just not me for right now, right? Because people change, you never know. To be entertaining, to do edits and all this, yeah. And my thoughts are just all over the place because there's so much and I need to sort it out. And also, as soon as I have a thought and a feeling and emotion, if I don't record it and do something right then and there, that emotion is just gone. So, well, probably should have done the health update first and not all this stuff, but well, start with the health update. My mental journey is actually going well, except for recently. I feel like because of some other event in my life, everything has just been a lot more crying. But the thing is before this happened, you can ask my husband and my children, there was a lot of crying already before that, because my grief lately and my chronic illness has been so extreme. And so now it's just, I cry a lot, all the time. I just can't stop now. I think the grieving part of all this, speaking of mental health, has been the last 2.5 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years. And I watched it steadily decline. About losing, it's not losing hope, it's the grief has gotten worse. And I think that's why I know that's why I put myself in counseling a year ago. And then I ended up finding out I was, bipolar 2, and that helped a lot to get on medicine for that. That helps me so that when I get in the really, really lows, that I'm not worried about myself anymore. Like if I'll do something, which thankfully I'm good in that area. Because I'll tell you right now, if you're feeling that is not a normal thought, and you should get help. Talk to somebody, see a psychiatrist, get outside. Get outside and eat healthy and get good sleep. That's hard to do when you're depressed, so I'm just saying. But it does help once you've gotten the other things. But you have to get help. You have to have talk therapy, CBT, DBT therapy. You can look those up. And also meds, even if they're temporary. Meds will help to either take the edge off or to actually fix something that is not right, that is not your fault or environmental. It is literally broken inside of you. And there's no shame in that. I will always promote that. I am not ashamed to take, I take medicine for depression and bipolar 2 and a whole slew of other things, but those I will never, and those I will be on the rest of my life. I'm assuming, but that's not a full statement you can say because nobody knows the advances in medicine and technology and all that. So, and through finding out maybe what my underlying cause is, and maybe it's not this and it's something else. But if I ever stopped going to my doctor's appointments, that's when somebody needs to worry. It's because that means I've given up all hope. There was a point where I stopped. It was right after it was in 2019. I was supposed to go and do Lyme treatments again, and I didn't. We ended up buying a house. We moved into this house that we're in now, and then everything shut down, and I was afraid to go back to doctors because having Lyme disease, I know a lot about different stories about people I sat in the infusion center with for 3 different times. One in 2014, one in, I can't remember what year in between, 2015, and one in 2018. I think that's the correct years, 2015, 2018. And they wanted to put, like I said, they want to put me back in Lyme treatments. My infectious disease doctor said, before we do that, let's go see if you have any other underlying conditions that maybe is causing all these symptoms that seem like Lyme. Because I would do the Lyme treatments and I would feel better, but I wouldn't stay better. And then about 8 to 10 months later, I would get sick again. Same symptoms, they would all come back. Which to me is, that's a whole other thing, but I agreed, let's just make sure. But I think what we're finding out now is that it's possible that Lyme has done so many problems and so many things that has put a stress on my body, that and other things that happened to me when I was younger, not like a kid, but more in my 20s and younger age in that area, that certain stresses in your life can cause you to get chronic illnesses. And unfortunately, grief is one of those things that can give you chronic illnesses because your body gets wrecked, and trauma can cause these things. And there's a lot to research in that. So go look it up yourself. But yes, that's not my medical opinion. That's what I've found. So please don't take it, just research it. Take what I say. Oh, I hate it. I was in Toastmasters and I'm umming all the time. Obviously didn't stick. So, health update right now, besides being diagnosed with bipolar 2 and that helping me, which tremendously, I still have a lot of the same symptoms I've been having for years. We're finding out now with my thyroid that even the T4 supplements that I'm taking of levothyroxine for my Hashimoto's has not been doing well enough to convert the T4 to T3 to keep my body going. You can research that too if you want to know more about it. So now I'm going to start taking T3 supplements, which are kind of, T4 helps, and over time it's kind of like an antidepressant. You have to take it for a long time to see improvement. I've been taking it for almost since August, and it's July 26th, so it's been 11 months, and it's still not regulating out my T3. So now I'm doing a T3, which kind of gives me a boost, which you have to be under more monitoring by your doctor, because then you can have too many spikes in, like, going up hyperthyroidism, and having issues going the other way. So, but I don't have Graves, so at least we know that. And if it does go higher, then we know just to lower the dose. But I'm going to start a low dose T3. Finally got the prescription and then realized I didn't put it in my stuff, so I'm going to start taking it actually tomorrow morning. With my kidneys, I have to go through different systems. So that's my thyroid. So I should just stick with the endocrinologist. Funny story is that they did not have all my medical records somehow, even though I swore I gave them to them, and my medical history, I mean, not records. And the doctor before knew that I had celiac disease and that I had all these other hypoglycemia, and he only treated me for my thyroid. And when he left the practice, and the new doctor has since discovered that is not in my chart, and we updated some things and are running a bunch of other tests because my hypoglycemia that I've been having issues with since 2008 has been getting worse, where I would have a blood sugar crash only once to twice a year, that I kind of as an average, It's been 5 or 6 times just since January, with one bad enough to put me in the hospital, and I had a lot of other issues, not just syncope, but I've had some type of temporary paralysis and a couple other neurological things. So my neurologist is running tests, and we're finding things, but nothing that's leading to this. I still have one more test to do, and then after that I have no clue. So my endocrinologist is running tests, and things are coming up with problems in my blood work, which is no surprise because that's what happens. We keep finding things. So I'm waiting on that test result, which I already know some of the ones. She did prep me if the test results were going to come back with certain things, what that would mean and what tests are next. So right now we're looking at problems with my pituitary gland. That one, thankfully, if it ends up being, my brain is sagging on that area, which that could be part of it. That's a long story. That's a long story there, but there's fixes for that. And if it were a tumor, there's fixes for that, and it's usually always been like benign, like very much benign if it is. And it's just to remove it, let my pituitary gland do what it needs to do, give it space that it needs to function properly. The other one is looking at my adrenal glands, which I think I'm not going to jump to conclusions until Friday. Today is Tuesday. I have an appointment Friday to find out those. And it's either, if it is my adrenal glands, then it's more than likely a tumor on them. But I don't think it's that either, because you would think tests would show, but I haven't had a specific MRI on my pituitary gland or on my adrenal glands, which are on your kidneys. So pituitary gland is like directly behind here at the base of your skull, like right on your spinal cord, like right in that area. And and your adrenal glands are little triangle things above your kidneys. So anyway, and my kidneys are ultrasound all the time, so you would think, right? But I don't know. Speaking of kidneys, I ended up passing another stone right after that hospital incident. I think it was in March, enough to I had to do another lithotripsy. It was stuck at my ureters, so they were able to go in and blast it instead of through like the external, which either one is not good for your body. But at least it wasn't in my kidneys. So that's a good thing, because when they have to do it in your kidneys or near that area, it actually damages, lithotripsies damage the area around it, even though it's just, it's a laser. And sometimes, don't quote me on this, research it yourself, but it's, it's not sound waves, but anyway, they'll blast it without using a laser. There's 2 different types that I've been used before. I've never had surgery on my kidneys. Thank goodness it's not that bad. Hallelujah, because that is horrible. Let's see. So I have chronic UTIs, which that'll make anybody exhausted. And they are always testing them, but it's funny, right now I'm not on any antibiotic, which is great because I'm about to leave town. So I just do my regular protocol, keeping my body kind of cleared out, and cranberry juice, which I hate. It's kind of one of those things that I have to drink it, so I hate it, but I'm out right now. I need to get more. You don't have to drink much though, so that's kind of nice. Just a little bit a day. Believe it or not, it helps with UTIs. Just a little bit, like a cup, literally measurement, a cup a day. Not the pills. The pills don't do the same. They're a good option if you don't have juice, but juice is so cheap and easy. And you can get the sugar-free kind if you're worried about that, which that was a recent discovery in my brain, and silly, right? Kidney function is actually really good. I'm very thankful for that, because there is a cyst on the left side that I think on the exams, it looks like it has been getting bigger on the CT exams. So we do ultrasounds every 6 months still. And because I had past a kidney stone, I'm at 3 months, and then I go back once I'm doing well to every 6 months. But it never goes any more than that. It's 6 months no matter what for the rest of my life of having an ultrasound. And then, like I said, if it's really bad, I guess CT scans. But try to avoid those. It's a lot of or a regular x-ray. That's another thing, just to see where the stone is at. It'll show. Let's see. My heart, I have a heart doctor appointment at the end of this month to go in and tell him because of my sleep apnea. I do not have sleep apnea, but I have such a low heart rate and low blood pressure at night, which is not new, but at least it's documented somewhere else besides the hospital. I did a sleep study. I don't have sleep apnea, which I knew that. My husband knew that, but we had to eliminate that to see if my sleep was a problem, because it could describe why I have PVC so bad all the time. And since I have a low heart rate and blood pressure, I cannot take beta blockers. So my heart is slowly, as what my doctor describes, it's slowly wearing itself out, because that's not a normal rhythm. It kind of exhausts the heart, or it's just not a normal beat. It wasn't designed to do that. So that's another doctor I'm sure I'll be referred to as my birds are telling me to put them to bed. You probably, I don't know if you can hear that. Anyway. And now I forgot where I was saying. That's okay. What's the other symptoms we're watching? I've been wearing a monitor, which this one I have one more day left. These are the ones that are prescribed. This is a Freestyle Light. They're prescribed if you have type 1 diabetes. Insurance does not cover them if you have hypoglycemia, which is silly because I've been dealing with hypoglycemia for 16 years. I am mathing wrong. Is that right? Yes. Yeah, because it was way before Lyme. And first time ever to not prick my finger when my blood sugar's low. This one is a little delayed because it's not like a blood prick will, finger prick or direct blood will give you a better result. This one is a little different. It'll be delayed, but I have a warning on there, and my average is in the 70s, and then at nighttime I fall in the 60s. So I have to set my alarm down to 65, and then at nighttime it goes off, and I always have to turn off the alarm because my body does regulate and stay low. I have learned to eat protein before bed, which is great because no one's ever told me that before, and now I am learning the difference between when I do feel the low blood sugar, I'm usually right, and when to eat and whatnot. And so now I'm going to get the non-prescription ones. It's 2 different brands, but you can look them up on Amazon. I'm getting the one that's $37 a month and not $50 a month. It's rolling over something. And that is something that I'm willing to pay for and use because it has been life-changing for my blood sugar levels. I've had this sensor. This is my second sensor, so it's been a month because they only last 2 weeks. And night and day difference in my blood sugar, which is helping me to not go into the more neurological issues that we think I'm having after my blood sugar crashes. So it's been avoiding those, which will avoid a hospital visit. So that's great. Because that's the fear, is once it started, it'll just keep going. So, not the fear of mine, but the fear of the doctors. And especially because I've had these symptoms before and never checked my blood sugar, and now we don't know if they're related or one triggers the other, but they're separate. We don't know. That's why we're running all the tests with my endocrinologist. My rheumatologist still has me on pills. It's an experimental medicine called naltrexone. It's not really experimental anymore, but in very, very low doses, it is shown to help people with fibromyalgia and chronic pain. Whereas the drug naltrexone is usually used to help people get off drugs. It helps your body stimulate your own, what is the word called? When you go to morphine. I was like, when you go to the hospital, the first thing they always give you is morphine, which morphine doesn't do anything to me, by the way, when I get to hospitals. I don't know why. Never has. That's not true. It used to affect me when I was a teenager. But kidney stones, no. Which I've been told kidney stones, even fentanyl is not the right thing. Is it Toradol? So that was a new thing I learned this last year. Makes sense why my doctors prescribed me Toradol. Because when I go to hospitals, I ask for Toradol, and they usually know they usually know that I know what I'm talking about, because that's the correct medicine for kidney stones to help with pain. If I said that word right, I get my medicines mixed up all the time because I'm on so many. I'm not on that one unless if I get it prescribed. As of right now, that's what I am going through. It's nothing big, nothing scary. But the thing that I'm going through is the mental. I am in extreme physical pain all the time. The fatigue is insane. I'm sleeping 10 to 12 hours plus at night. Some nights 14 if I sleep through my alarm, and because it's summer, there's nothing keeping me. There's no schedules, so I have to make a schedule, but because I know I make my own schedule and I don't have deadlines or places to get people or schoolwork to get the kids to do, which now is only one of my kids, it's a whole lot easier for my body to just give in and rest, which is great, but also at a time where I can't have anybody come clean my house or work on my yard or do anything like that. And we've had to cut those services back. And my kids help, but then they don't. Yeah, that's frustrating. That's a parenting problem and a reinforcement problem and a support system problem that I am working on constantly. Because I think a lot of people forget that just doing your simple tasks helps such a great and bigger picture. So, I thought this video would be an hour. I'm at 42 minutes, so that's not too bad. I don't know what my videos would look like going forward, and I might just have something. I think my goal is to start doing videos on TikTok, but they're not going to be for entertainment, that's for sure. Because I don't know where else to record and do this. I could do YouTube Shorts, never done that. I figured out, not hard. Actually, I think I already know how. I just haven't done it. But whatever it is, I need to keep the random tiny thoughts going. Even if it's such a short video, I just need to do it. Because if not, then I get these really big videos like this, and nobody's going to watch them, and nobody's going to really get good use of them. So there's not much else to say, I guess, for right now, because my brain is overloaded already, and it's done, and I'm now gonna have to go find something else to do to keep me busy, which will probably tire me out, and that is the vicious cycle. That is the spoon theory. You should look that one up too. I feel like a lot, I do have to say that I feel very blessed lately, is because I feel like Heavenly Father has given me a lot of extra spoons to help deal with the things that have been coming up in my life recently that do not involve my chronic illness, but do in a way as form of, I don't know how I had the energy and the mental capacity to do the things I have been doing lately. And it's crazy what love can kind of do, you know, when you see your loved ones going through something hard. It is definitely a motivation to get outside of yourself and help them, at least for me. That's why I think I've always loved service so much. It's just difficult when you don't leave your house or go to church anymore and all that, and you're not involved in a community so much per se. Not a homeschool co-op anymore. Will be soon, but it'll be a little more limited because my daughter's a high schooler and will graduate in 2 years or in a year, and then that'll be it, which that is her choice. I've been using a new shampoo and I have such an itchy scalp. I stopped using it, just so you know, but it's still healing, I think. That's all. Thanks for coming to my, it's not even a TED Talk. And I'm going to say this to myself in the future, because this is really the only person that's going to watch it all the way through, because I watch my videos all the way through, because it's helpful to help me see where my mental place was. And I also notice things that I've said and put different perspectives, or give myself advice when I go back and reevaluate what I'm saying and what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, or whatever. I can remember better. Is that I hope that I do go to UCLA, even if I get a diagnosis from my endocrinologist about what's happening, or my neurologist, because I have such multi-system issues, and I'm supposed to be seeing a hematologist too now. That'll be fun. More tests, another bone marrow biopsy. That was really fun. But I hope I still go someplace and just say, hey, you guys might not find anything, but can we just make sure? But if I do start to feel better and we find some things and life can go on, even to get 50% back of the way I was. I don't even know what was means. I don't even remember. I have these faint memories of being more active as a parent, but before that, I had depression, debilitating depression. I feel like I only had 1 year of my life as being a mother, as being a wife, as being a female, period. 1 year that I can, really remember. Or I thought everything was decent. And then those few months after each time I did Lyme treatments. So I don't even know what I'm talking about when I say before all that or whatever. I've been dealing with depression my whole life. And that alone is debilitating and a big grief in itself. I know having chronic illnesses means your circle is small. It just is. It's hard to find other people that have been through what you've been through, especially my case. Because most people I talk to, I envy their chronic illness journey, their health journey. Not all of them. I've been faced one time in my life with possible death. Never faced cancer. And now the thought of it as a possibility is weird. Because it's not the first time that it's been this close to being a possibility. So I kind of am numb to it. I really am. It's weird. I know I don't like to worry until it gets to a certain point, but all the test results keep coming back with weird things. And my whole life has been the hurry up and wait game. So, anyway, till next time.